The Western world is in ruin and ready to collapse. The so-called resistance leaders, they rage bait the slaves, pushing their own demise. Stay angry indeed. Black pills of despair rain from the sky. No one can stop the fall. No one can stop Black Chad, demon of despair.
Stop putting your emotion into it.
Wait,
we need to look for alternatives.
what's this?
Look for solutions. We can't just, give in to despair and this program demoralization of the West. Come on, guys.
What? You're not full of rage or despair? Fine. I will imprison you in an astral dungeon and keep you away from the others. No one will hear about your alternatives or your solutions or your silly indie brands. No one cares. The despair programming must continue.
What?
Welcome to Forever, nerd.
You haven't won, Black Chad.
Oh, yeah?
I'll talk to and review every indie creator I can, and we'll fight against your despair.
Even the bad ones?
Yes, even the bad ones.
Oh.
You don't get it. I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me!
Oh.
Now on with the show.
Yeah. May, happy Sunday.
Yay. Happy Sunday.
Yeah. And screw you, Black Chad, for imprisoning me here. I will get back at you. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, so far so good.
Quiet. So
pretty good.
So today we've got a returning guest, Mr. Patio Cakes. Good to see you, Patty. And of course, Mr. Chris Fisk. Chris,
yeah.
You've got your sign up still going on Indiegogo, right? For Infinite Tale Chronicles.
Yes, I do. Yep.
There you go. So go find him, and if you want, you can share that in the chat, of course.
Okay.
If you guys aren't sure what Infinite Tale is, or you do know Chris because he's been around forever, go ahead and go to his page and sign up for it. He let me get a look at the preview of his campaign. It is sharp. Holy cow! It's one of the most professional looking pages I've seen. So,
oh hell yeah,
looking real good. Shit. And you helped me with mine, so yours looks even better than mine. So,
oh damn,
anyways. So today we're going to be talking about D&D is dead. Dun dun dun.
We killed it.
Yeah, it's dead. Let it die. Also, Stan Lee documentary. Somebody's crowdfunding for a Stan Lee, behind the scenes of his last days on Earth or something like that. And then Starship Troopers is going to get remade. And so, that's kind of been in Twitter news. And then also I've got some stuff from Twitter that I wanted to share. And, all right. So Patty, you are a bit of a Trump fan, right? You got the Trump poster behind you. So
normally I take that down before I go into other people's shows, but I totally forgot this morning.
No, it's all right. So anyways, and you're also you host the Patio Cake Show right on Rumble.
Yes, on Sundays and Thursdays is primarily when I stream. On Sundays, so an hour or so after we leave this one, I'll be on my Rumble channel and I'll be painting space dwarves. So if you're into that, we'll be talking about one of the first Twitter ran Westmarch or Bronstein type games. That was done for a children's charity, so check that out. And then on Thursdays, I do what I call Inkin' and Thinkin' because I do all of my own art for my RPG games, and I draw and philosophize. Is that how you pronounce that word? Anyway, Chris was on one of the episodes talking about Eastern media and such with me 2 weeks ago, and then this last week I was in rare form when I talked politics and didn't draw at all. Normally.
Nice.
Normally I don't talk politics on my channel. I just talk about games. But rare form.
You had something to say though. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see who's in the chat. Let's see. What's up, couple of adventurers? Thanks for joining. Howdy. And then of course here's the link. So go find that for Chris. How many signups are you at?
Last I checked, I think it was like a little over 100.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it's like we're getting there.
Yeah. And then of course there's Derek. What's up, Derek? Derek has taken the day off to hang out with his family for some reason. I don't know. Who does that? Gosh. Of course, we got Chris. Couple of adventurers says Twitter Goblin flavored Bronsteins are awesome, and halflings are the best. Wow. Just gonna come out and start fights, huh? Okay.
there is a halfling faction in that particular game. So if you want to learn more about it, you'll have to go over to rumble.com/c/Patty's Parlor.
There we go. Patty's Parlor. That's right. That's what it's called. Sweet. Yeah, I caught the show with Chris on it, of course, and it was a good show. I liked it. You two really hit it off. Yeah. So here we go. So this is kind of for you, Patty, since being a Trump fan. I saw this and I thought it was hilarious. Let's see if I can get this to play correctly. There we go.
It's been risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for Australia.
To be in a very bad position.
There we go. Let's try that again.
You're right now not in a very good position.
You guys hear that?
Yep.
Yeah.
You allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position.
I was
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you don't.
We're
Was
you're
not
playing
playing
cards.
cards.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling with.
Why
Give me more money.
Sound so dark,
You're
like it
gambling
is.
with World War III.
He sounds like he's going to say,
Gambling
"Curse
with
you,
World
moose and
War
squirrel."
Influence.
You're right now not in a very.
So yes, I had to share that from Grums on Twitter. But let's see what else we got. Okay, so one of the things that I want to talk about, we'll go ahead and get her kicked off, is is WotC, or I should say WotC D&D is dead. Now we're all gamers. Chris, you probably got more into the video RPG kind of stuff, and Patty, you also do miniatures and you do live games.
Yep, Sunday evenings.
Okay. I haven't watched those yet, so I'll have to check those out as well. Yeah, I've thought about doing it, but my usual table, they're not into the idea, so I don't know, I'll have to find like an online group to play with. But anyways, first of all, I guess let's talk about WotC being dead. Let's think about that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna kill WotC. The financial backing of Hasbro might be too big, and Hasbro being, whether we like it or not,
They're a brand.
Hasbro is like an American column of culture. You know what I mean? And anybody and everybody has had a Hasbro line of toys or board games.
Yeah.
However, I think that the prominence and rising of Shadow Dark does show that you can be a very successful indie guy and break away from the mainstream. But one of the things to talk about Kelsey is it doesn't happen overnight, like some people had claimed for her. I mean, she's been at this game for 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And when the OGL crisis happened, she was ready to go. And so, props to her, because she's been in that dojo training every day, and she rose up to the challenge.
Yeah, it was 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, and 100 squats, and every day. And
that's
here
right.
she is with her one punch. And I'm blown away. It's funny because I reached out to her on Twitter probably, I don't know, a year or year and a half, something like that. And unfortunately, I never heard back, which happens. I'm assuming that she was already too big for my show. But I tried to get her on the channel and talk about all this. So it's really cool to see it just blow up like it has. She's really done an awesome job. Let me see. Pull up.
Yeah, and the second, the fact that she had a second successful Kickstarter, I think, is already doing the same numbers within the first couple of days as her last Kickstarter did through its entire run.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, I think it's very indicative. And then to get back to the Hasbro WotC thing, I think I think her success is very similar to what Paizo's was. I mean, a lot of the same history is happening again, where Paizo was making Dragon Magazine, and they were leveraging a lot of the 3.5 material in order to make content. And then when Wizards decided to move to 4th edition, and 4th edition did not have open gaming license for which people could make third-party content. And a lot of people say that that's about half to 3/4 of the reason why 4th edition died on the vine.
Yeah,
It was a video game essentially. It was
Right.
an offline video game.
I really like 4th edition. My favorite version is Gamma World 7th edition. But
okay. Wow,
perhaps that's a talk for a different show.
it's the OG stuff too, man.
Right.
World? Woo.
But I think if you look at the way that Wizards did that, I think they might have learned that, you know, the new boss at Wizards learned what the old boss had learned, that you don't do that type of stuff. Mostly because, you know, if things go well for Kelsey, which I really hope they do, because she's extremely humble. And I know you said that, you know, she might be too big. I don't think that she thinks that way. She was
it's probably just she didn't see my message or whatever. I mean,
super
right.
busy.
Yeah,
I don't know nothing about her, unfortunately. I think I've seen her on a show, but I hadn't really seen her on any shows.
Super down to earth. She does have her own show, and I've seen her in other people's live chats. I mean, my friend Lord Mateus, he does a show on Friday nights, and she hung out in the chat all night asking questions or answering questions.
Yeah.
And then she does her own live stream. But yeah, I think you know, if she can break through into physical stores and start getting the not terminally online people into Shadow Dark, I think she really has a chance at standing parallel to Paizo Pathfinder, which would be incredible, considering that I think it's just her and her wife, and then all of her commission artists that, you know, put the game together.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes Shadow Dark so magical, is you're not getting a product that's filtered through several corporate teams of college trained weirdos.
Theater kids.
Yeah.
You mean communists?
Yeah,
I would say communists. I mean,
Marxist demoralizers.
I don't think that I don't think they teach art the way that they should these days.
Well, what I've noticed, like, just from a, you know, like, standing back, because, like, dude, I've lost interest in tabletop RPGs since around 3.5, and the reason for that was, when you're an adult that's got like 20 freaking things to do, you're moving around like the country basically, and you like the offline capacity to get together with friends becomes fewer and fewer, like your opportunities. And it's very frustrating when like you get a rules book and you need a website to even create your character because there's so much crap in there. And you're like, you know, there's all the min-maxers in there that suck the life out of the game. And then there's the, like, you know, like that was kind of what bothered me a lot about like when 3.5 went in, because I spent all this time doing 2.5 and 2. You know, I just got my head wrapped around THACO. Okay. so when the newer stuff came in and it was like, yeah, here's all this super complex, super like more I don't want to say convoluted, but like you combine the super complex stuff with the fact that it's really hard to get together with like adults all over the country at the same time or all over the world. It starts making pen and paper or tabletop stuff less and less accessible, because you know, you don't want to like, you know, play with yourself like what the hell. But like
easy now.
What happened was, though, is I was seeing from afar what was becoming of the hobby that I really enjoyed. And WotC, like you know, like Patty was saying, like I don't think we'll ever kill that dragon. The problem is because it's a brand. You know, the merchants of cool sold a brand, and people are enslaved to brands. They don't care about like this success story here with Shadow Dark is you know, it shows like it's representative of getting a good brand out there. You know,
Yeah.
like Chelsea got her brand out there. She shopped it around. It took her a decade to do it because she's, you know, a soldier by herself essentially with very little resources compared to like Watson.
Behind enemy lines.
Yeah, so good on her for that, you know. But it just shows though that like from afar though, looking at what has become a D&D, I don't want to say it's feminized, but when you're talking about dinner parties and, you know, prom and shit in your Dungeons and Dragons, and all of your character, all the rough edges of your character races and everything have been, you know, sanded down, and you have Mexican orcs, and you've got like, you know, indistinguishable races now. Like orcs just look like elves with gray skin now.
You
and
bigot.
like, yeah, and like there's there's less focus on adventure and, you know, the things that attracted us nerds to this stuff is I'm never going to go out into the haunted woods or the, you know, the dead mines or whatever. Like if you look at her tagline, it's literally it's telling you these are the adventures that you crave. It's like adventure into haunted forests and, you know, like, you know, deadly labyrinths or whatever. And it's like, yeah, those are key words that are going to trigger that adventure mind. And then you look over at WotC and it's like, let's look at dwarves baking muffins, you know.
Yeah, right.
Well,
No,
yeah, I was
sorry,
going to say, if I may, one of the things that Kelsey does really well is that her public relations are amazing.
Yeah.
You know, not only was she, you know, trucking along and producing stuff for the DMs Guild for about 10 years, but she was also making like really good connections with people.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people kind of came at her sideways wrongfully, was that, you know, everyone just assumed she came out of nowhere when she had been working with other big D&D tubers like Ben Milton and Bob the World Builder. And, you know, whether or not you like those particular guys is inconsequential. The fact is that, you know, she's really business oriented and she makes the Arcane Library a very friendly face to talk to. So that really helps. And that's, you know, when I look at like us here and what Aaron does and what Chris does, it's like, you know, we have the ability to do that. Just our networking now, you know, unfortunately it seems like we just got to put the time in and hopefully get a really cool massive event where people are like ready and willing to, you know, cut ties and jump ship.
10 years. We need 10 years.
Not always.
And then we'll be an overnight success. Isn't that what it is?
10 years and then an overnight.
A couple of adventurers says, did you guys see her message on the wall of memory at GaryCon? I did not.
No.
Yes, so Rogue Scholar retweeted that, Ben, and it was at GaryCon, and she had wrote on Gary's wall, "You had told me to be a DM when I was 12 years old." I can't remember exactly what it said, but something about she had an interaction with Gary when she was 12.
Wow,
that's super cool. Yeah,
and she wrote on the wall, and now here she is. Doing amazing things and setting a good example.
Looking at $1.5 million easy. Yeah. Speaking of $1.5 million, we got about 20 people, apparently 22 watching right now. So if you're new here, like, sub, share us out, comment, do whatever it takes to be on social media and help us out. If you like this, make sure to come back too. Also, last week's show was really good. It was damn good. So go check that one out as well. Let's see. A couple of adventurers say my local gaming store is awesome and carries her stuff, but it's local.
Yes.
They also have a monthly open Shadow Dark game. There we go.
Oh, that's awesome,
dude. That's you know one thing that could help you know, Chelsea and other independent creators is the I Want My MTV campaign. Go to your local, like, he's, you know, it's only a local shop, but dude, it's a snowball effect. If everybody's got a local shop and we're like, hey, could you carry Shadow Dark, or could you carry Immortal Rising, or could you carry Infinite Tale Chronicles, or whatever, like, that'll get us, you know, that'll be how we get in, because there is no underground anymore. We are the underground, you know.
Right.
It's all laid bare now. It's all digital.
Yeah, you're living in one. Yeah, so right now we've got so since I've had this pulled up, she's gotten 5 new backers. So
hell yeah.
I mean, that's fucking awesome. That's great. That's the stuff that That's the stuff dreams are made of, kid.
And
So, and there's a few other ones here that was mentioned. Let me see if I can find that. Mike Merle's he's the one that's credited with basically creating 5th edition, right?
yeah, the guy lived across the street from me as a kid.
That's crazy, dude.
I know. I didn't even know it.
Small world. So Mike says, did 3 TTRPG crowdfunders all cross the $1 million mark within 24 hours? Fallen London, Magnus Archives, and Shadow Dark. What a wild time we live in. Yeah. And so what do you guys think of the future of indies being a competitor to WotC? Now, you were just talking about, what's her name? Is Kelsey?
Yeah.
She spent years on DM's Guild, probably making content, sharing, messaging, all that stuff, making contacts, networking. Then she was with other YouTubers and whatnot. So she had built up a network and audience over time before delivering all of this. Now, I mean, do you have to do that far? Probably to make $1 million, but there's also a lot of smaller guys out there like that has been on the show that makes pretty decent. One, they make good product, and two, they make decent coin off of it too. Like 20 grand on a Kickstarter campaign is not bad, you know?
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. These days, I think you do. I think with the rise of everyone is a streamer now since we have cameras on our phones.
You're right.
I think and people are really choosy now with who they're sending their money to. Whether you like the culture war or not, one of the things that it has done is it's galvanized about half of the market into not wanting to buy anything unless they're supporting the person that's making it.
Yeah.
And so some of that means that we're, guys like us are going to have predestination, where it wouldn't matter what we say or do. We're going to lose out on some of the money that we could be making from people who think differently than us. And that is right. That's a shame because, it's like some people are like, good, I don't want your money. And it's like, well, I would like your money, but I would also for you to want to check out my product and, check out mutants and have this skirmish war game where mutants have to fight in a post-Forsaken world for waning resources. Some people who are really into climate change and think it's going to end the world, you can fantasize about that stuff in my game if you want to.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, do you have any links or anything that we can share into the chat?
I'll grab them while we're going. But I mean, that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, it's unfortunate because conservatives will buy liberal stuff, sometimes whether they like to or not. How many times have we seen movies come out where you're like, no hate watching.
It's the brand. It's the brand.
I tripped and I fell in the theater. I'm sorry.
I don't know where this R2D2 popcorn bucket came from.
Exactly.
I had better not see any of you watching the new Snow White. None of you.
None of you. All right, so
I think we're safe with that.
What's up, Wrangler? Good to see you.
Hey.
Here's this. So that one's for a starting merch shop on Fourth Wall. I'm giving that a go because Teespring failed me.
Oh, I've been hearing that a lot.
Yeah. And then I do stuff with a guy that runs an online store called Giant Slayer Games, and I'm really excited because we're going to be doing some new stuff to try to make sure that people have the opportunity to go over there. But other than that, I have my drive-through RPG store, which I'll get a hold of here soon.
Chris, I didn't pull up YouTube and all that. Do you mind posting all that stuff for me, please?
Sure. All right. Let's see. Wait, you can't post because you're not a
yeah, I've been putting it in the private chat.
All right. So here's
let me try pulling up my YouTube. I'll stop being lazy. Fine, guys. It's Sunday, but okay.
Yeah, what else were we talking about? Oh yeah. So Yeah, I was talking about the marketplace and people buying that. I think people are really identify with who they're buying from, and then unless you get people picking your stuff off the shelf randomly, in our case we have to depend, if we want something like that, we have to depend on places like Barnes and Noble and so on and so forth to stock our stuff. And even in the most our side of the spectrum friendly places, cities, regions, you find that those stores will still peddle and push nonsense. Like last time I went to Barnes and Noble, they had like that whole shelf full of Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris books. Who is buying this? Who is buying this?
A lot of that stuff is subsidized from what I can tell.
Yeah, USAID. We're all buying it. We're paying for it with our taxes.
Or the New York bestsellers list is all, it's because their agent bought 5,000 copies and got them on the list or something. So
but insofar as Kelsey's case, I think Kelsey has an amazing ability to be friends with everybody. Really, like you said, she's good friends with a lot of the D&D tubers. And aside from some of them being a little, what one of our mutual friends would say, limp-wristed, most of these guys aren't necessarily bad guys. I don't know if I agree with like the culture that they're pushing, but Kelsey has made time for like our mutual friend, our favorite Dutchman, Victor Gorchev.
Nice.
Yeah.
And she's a constant backer of people who are making third-party content for her game. She's very confident and she's very invested in, I think the right way, because when you start seeing people who want to make content for your product, you're starting to gain critical mass, because I think who was it? A couple of adventurers said word of mouth was huge, or maybe I missed that. Maybe I saw something else.
Well, and success begets success. Once the ball starts rolling, it starts getting bigger and bigger real quick.
Yeah. Speaking of, a couple of adventurers says, I don't even go in places to grab stuff off the shelf where I would discover something. I like the new way of making connections with the creators. Yeah. And that seems to be, the way to do it, especially with indies and stuff. And we've said it on the show before. It's like, at least half of your marketing is marketing yourself, your own personality, and getting out there so everybody can see and then judge you relentlessly.
Yeah, that's what I hate about it, because it's like I'm never gonna win a popularity contest. I was a freaking dork. Like, let's be real about this. Like, I'm still a big dork. Like, I may grow old, but I'll never grow up. Okay, I'm in my 50s now. Yeah, but it's like it just sucks where it's like, growing up, I didn't give a crap about the creators of the products that I like. I had no idea what their political beliefs were. And I didn't care. Like, I didn't know if Gary Gygax was left-leaning or right-leaning or any of that crap. I just knew that, like, I liked Dungeons and Dragons. And now you're, like, pushing yourself out into this popularity contest that's, like, virtual and worldwide. It's all across the digital. And I'm like, seriously, how am I going to win against some hot chick or some, like, Chad that's been in the industry for, that's got all this stuff under his belt, when I'm, like, this fat, old, half-Korean Jew? This ain't working, man. Like, no, that's not a marketable thing. Like, I have to hire booth babes, because if I'm at a con, I stand up, hi, how you doing?
What is it? It's like orc cosplay. Couple of adventurers says Kelsey crosses aisles. She's a married lesbian, but that isn't her whole identity. Well, that's hot. She puts first. What she puts first is that a game designer, and I absolutely love her for it. Yeah, and that's probably where everybody likes her, is because she is a known game designer, and that's really what it is you got to build up that reputation, right? Because you're not a corporate brand. That you're not marketing a corporate brand, which is easy, recognize, because they've got millions of dollars to market themselves, like WotC and whatnot. But I will say, it's like D&D was, I think I saw somebody saying that a lot of the D&D channels have fallen off, like the 5e stuff, is people aren't really playing 5e as much.
Well, they
Now,
want
I
dinner
mean, I know
parties.
5e has been around now for what, like 10 years or something like that. So
Going on
maybe it's
11.
okay, maybe it's gotten a little long in the tooth, and and this new D&D stuff is really not like the art is bad. It's really bad, and then they're pushing all of the inclusion Marxist communist horseshit.
That's what's killing it. Is 5e is actually superior to 4e. Like it's a well-designed system, and credit to Merles there before they gave him the sack. Like that dude, like he knows his shit. Like he's not just some, like, I don't know his political leanings. I probably, if I followed him on Twitter, I'd probably be like, oh wow, he's a wacko lefty.
Yeah.
But like,
oh shit.
But here's the thing: is like I don't
Lord.
care. Like his skill, like at game design, is there, and I respect that. And unfortunately, it's being muddled, like because it's a team effort. It's being like overshadowed by the dinner parties and the Mexican orcs and all the really soft pastel art and shit. Like if you notice on Kelsey's stuff, if you told me a chick did that, I'd be like, you're lying, because women are better at colors, men are better at form, and that stuff is all like wood block line art. Like it looks harsh. It looks like something a dude would do, and it's a chick doing it. So it's like mad respect to her for crossing that barrier and being like, look, I'm just doing what I liked or what I got me attracted to Dungeons and Dragons back when I was 12.
Yeah.
It wasn't the soft pastels and the like. Let's smooth all the rough edges.
Yeah.
As far as
it was that scene in Conan where we had sex with a witch that got me into D&D. No, I was kidding.
As far as the D&D tubers channels getting killed, I think Black Lodge said it best, where it's like those people are killing their own channels. Because you can only have how to run your first Dungeons and Dragons session video so many times before people are like, okay, we've been playing the same game for 11 years. And, as a side note, nobody plays the game the way that it's written.
No.
But, but
they challenge you to prove me wrong.
Well, yeah, they have these videos where it's like, yeah, this is how you make a character. This is how you make this type of character. This is how you make this type of character. This is how you write an adventure. It's like you can only watch that video so many times from so many different creators before you're like, I've seen that. And then you have to have like actual charisma to do a live play. And there are people who, and I'm one of the ones that does this. When like my live plays, on every other Sunday I play like actual war game. So I get out the camera and like show off my table with my son.
Awesome.
But then on other Sundays, I do like this kind of setup for a live play or an actual play. Nice. And I mean, it's really just people staring at a map for the entire session while listening to voices. And really the only reason why I do that is because I wanted to show people that it's okay to stop playing your game to listen or look up rules. We were playing Iron Kingdoms RPG, and it's a thick book. It's an RPG, kind of like original Dungeons and Dragons. The RPG is based on the war game that made it.
Nice.
So the combat rules are really tight, which is one of the reasons why I absolutely love Iron Kingdoms. It's so good.
Tight.
Yeah.
What's up, Grindel?
Hey.
So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I think that is. But yeah, BLG, Black Lodge Games, the guys that did Shucked Oyster, and they're putting together their Cults of Zahak book. And Shucked Oyster was a Shadow Dark product that Kelsey bought and endorsed.
Oh wow,
nice. There we go.
And I gotta tell you, I felt pretty cool because they commissioned me to draw 5 or 6 of their fantasy sex workers, I believe is the
yes. Roll D20 for brothel.
Yeah, and like Michael Malice said that he bought that book. I was like, yes.
Whoa, okay.
Like I thought that was really cool. Like Kelsey Dion has a book that's got my art in it. These other big important people were buying this book that's got my art in it, and I got to work. I mean, the Black Lodge game guys are some of my favorite dudes on the internet. They're so great.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah.
Catherine says, I just saw that movie Conan for the first time a couple months ago because it won the weekly Iron Seas pick. It was something else. Yeah. It might not be for everybody, but it was definitely for me. Let's see, a couple of mentions. Best whorehouse ever. Yeah, that's an interesting role playing game.
Yeah, saving throw versus STD. Like,
Well, the funny thing about it is, like they say at the very beginning of the book, when it comes to role playing those type of scenes,
Mhm.
they straight up tell you, like, first off, just don't be weird. And the whole
Too late.
just
I already played
possible
D&D. I'm weird enough.
don't be weird about it. It's like,
Yeah.
What, maintain eye contact with the player you're roll. You know,
yeah, right. When you're shaking the dice. Oh my God.
yeah, show the hand when you're doing it on.
Yeah, blow on them. Anyways, well, you know, and that's I intend to make supplement for Immortal Rising to put it in, you know, like for Castles and Crusades, make it adaptable to other. I'm gonna have to look into Shadow Dark and see if she'll let me, you know, make classes that are in my game and see if I could transfer them to Shadow Dark and to Castles and Crusades. And because before I was thinking 5e, but if 5e is falling off, then maybe
Yeah.
not. You know, I don't know.
I know. I'm in trouble, man, with my stuff. Because
Well, yeah, you've got your own system all built.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, like that's again going back to the brand where it's like, oh, you're transferring it onto another brand. Like, you know, I don't like. I'm in my own little island, and I've been, you know, I started it back when I was 12. You know, speaking of talking to, you know, somebody when you were 12 and getting inspiration from them, but like, I kind of stopped paying attention to some of like the, you know, the other stuff, and I started going in my own direction. So it was like its own little like offshoot, and I don't, you know, and there are some similarities, but I wouldn't call it a traditional like TTRPG that builds more of its stuff off of like what Dungeons and Dragons, you know, AD&D start like kind of defined as a precedent, or like war game miniatures. It has its own kind of flavor, and I worry about that because it's like, is there a market for that? Because there's going to be people going, oh, it's a TTRPG. Let's see if I can adapt it to insert other RPG here. And it's like, no, it's not like that. It's It's actually it's dumber. I wouldn't say it's dumbed down either, but it's like it's not designed to, when you're building your character or whatever, to have to go to a website to like, you know, when I was doing 3.5 and stuff, it was so frustrating where it was like, okay, now go to a website. Here's all the skills, and you got to like, oh, you're a rogue, so now you got to do this, and you got to do this, and you pick the Craven trait because it allows you to get a bonus in that. I'm like, that's a lot of stuff to juggle, dude, for like a game session. Like, you know, give me the core, like distill it back down to the dumbest stuff possible, and then build from there. And that's kind of what I did.
I play 3.5, and we've got a couple of guys who are, well, one, rule lawyers, but also will make a fucking character stack that is insane. It's like they'll reach here and there, which I don't mind the min-maxing because it balances out our game. And generally, I'll let it pass just to see, you know, where there's weakness, right? Like if I need to do something different as a DM, or, you know, generally the rules themselves balance out, believe it or not. It may seem outlandish and ridiculous, but, you know, whenever they start min or maxing in one thing, they're minimal in another, and that's where you can get them. You know?
That's where you get
just the way it goes, you know. So there is consequences of that, and you know, we've all played together for so long. We're all cool with that. When we see something might break the game, we're like, well, we got to redo this, you know. And luckily, it really doesn't happen. Like 3.5 is a pretty solid game. So I suppose yes, I can break this game. There's probably that, but you know, nobody's
that's
tried
why.
That hard.
Like what made 3.5 unbreakable is also makes it extremely unapproachable to new players, because they made it watertight, not airtight. So like all of the cracks and whatever they've accounted for with a different amount of rules, but those rules keep like adding on top of rules, on top of rules, on top of rules. And eventually, you do have that like immersion breaking moment where, hold on, give me a sec. Either you go to a website or you like crack open a book and you're looking there for like 5-10 minutes to figure out if that, you know, and it's like that's a killer. Like that's a momentum killer. You know, you're building suspense and all of a sudden, oh, hold on.
I run real basic stuff. Like I don't get crazy with my builds. So like they can, but I like it nice and easy.
Well, but like look at World of Darkness. Like that is a busted ass role-playing game system. Okay. That
Mhm.
like you could exploit the shit out of that without even trying. I'm
Yeah.
an Assamite. Like what the hell is that? And all of a sudden, like, you read it, you're like, okay, so this session's over. But like the thing that made it successful was that, and I don't know how successful it is now. It's probably like obscure and dead, but I'm old. But what I remember when it came out and it rise to prominence and it like got all the theater kids and stuff, is that it had rules that encouraged things beyond just the mechanics. It had things where it was like, like it was very rudimentary. You literally had like, it looked like you were filling in like a punch card. Like there were like little dots for your stats or whatever. And it's like,
Yeah.
now you've got like this type of damage. So this can't heal, but because you're a vampire, like you can go into torpor. You don't actually die, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool and everything. But like, it's so breakable.
You're right.
Yeah, I
And
think
so-
we're at 3.5 kind of gotten to a little bit of hot water, and this is what's going to happen. This is what happens to all games. And I think it's one of the reasons why earlier I might have shocked you when I said I think Gamma World 7th is probably one of my favorites, because the whole game exists within 3 books.
There we go.
Oh, sounds like my baby is awake. But anyway. Yeah, turn my
Everything okay?
mic down. Yeah, she's waked up and she's got teeth popping in, so she's
Oh, crabby.
but, the whole game exists within 3 books, and I think buying books can get really cumbersome. In my duration of playing 3.5e, there was a whole bunch of stuff that I saw that broke books. That's because I devoured my rule sets. One of my things is, people like to reread Lord of the Rings, or people like to reread this or that, and
Yeah.
I'm constantly getting back into my rule books to see how people simulate stuff, and
Mhm.
and I think that's one of the reasons why Chris was saying I didn't know who Mike Rolls was. I didn't know who the people who wrote my books were. It's for a lot of the same reason that when I was in high school taking art classes, they're like, oh, art appreciation, being able to understand like which artists did what, so that way you can see patterns and learn what their ideas was. I think that's one of the reasons why.
And then dismantle them. No.
Yeah, right. And then deconstruct them, so that way people can feel bad about liking the things that they like.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish. I wanted to switch out to another topic here before too long, though. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Just that. I think when it comes to games being easy, people will be really familiar with Shadow Dark, because it is a D20 based game with 6 stats.
Nice.
And the game does exist within 1 book. This new Kickstarter that she's got is additional, and it's not like she comes out with things at a breakneck speed where it's like, we just got our hands on this book and didn't even get a chance to use what's in it, and now there's a new book. So I think that does a lot too. Pacing is good.
Yeah. Guys, we've got about it looks like 30 or so people. It keeps fluctuating. Around 30 people watching. So if you're new here, hit the like, hit the sub, leave a comment, do all that good social media stuff for me, and then come back or watch the last week's show. You're gonna like it. But I guess on that one, we'll go ahead and we'll switch gears here, because we're running long, and I've got other stuff I got to do today, unfortunately. But I would like to end that on this. Human tourists beware. Fertile elven maidens have been spotted in this area. Unaccompanied males will fall victim to forced elven crossbreeding. So be careful out there.
Oh no.
Yeah, not again. Like, why do I keep getting lost in this area?
Why did you bring a kit, like a blanket and a pillow? What's going on here?
All right. So another thing that I wanted to talk about, let's see, present, was this Stan Lee. Oops, there we go. Was the potential Stan Lee documentary that is crowdfunding right now. I don't know this dude. Let's see. Let me read it real quick. It says, first trailer for Stan Lee, the final chapter. The documentary uncovers how Stan Lee was exploited by his former business partners for financial gain. Directed by John Bolerjack, who worked closely with Lee during the last 4 years of his life. So I think that's a long-haired dude here.
Yeah.
Is the
Dude, they all
Bolerjack dude.
exploited him. Even the documentary, like this is disgusting.
Yeah. So, what are you guys' thoughts on that, Chris? Disgusting.
It enrages me. Like there's the three like targets that are non-negotiable for me
Yeah.
are the elderly, children, and like people's pets. You know, like I'm sorry, but those are very vulnerable and defenseless things. And it broke my heart when I saw Mickey Rooney. Remember that old actor, Mickey Rooney?
Yeah.
He was talking about elder abuse, and he's like, this stuff happens and nobody cares. Like you go into a home and you get your ass beat. Like you're in like assisted living, and the next thing you know, there's some like, some third world like intern or whatever or orderly that's like roundhouse kicking you, or like beating you savagely, and nobody cares. And it's what when I see stuff like what they did to Stan, like they took his blood, dude.
My name is John Bolerjack.
Whoops.
And for the last 4 years of Stanley,
sorry,
they took his blood to like use it as like a marketing thing, like to sign comic books or whatever.
Yeah,
this guy was asleep. They're like I was talking with Nick there from the Phoenix Press, and they were joking. They're like, yeah, we didn't know how bad it was at the time, but like he would be in like photo opportunities or photo sessions.
Yeah,
like this one here.
Yeah, and he's unconscious.
He's
He's unconscious. Like this poor guy, these are the final days of his life. He should be as comfortable as possible. And instead, they're just like a bunch of vultures circling around, waiting for him to drop. And they're like, we got to get our money. We got to exploit this guy.
No, I don't have anything against Stanley or nothing. I've listened to, documentaries about him, other people who used to work with him and all that stuff. I've listened to a bit of that stuff. I mean, and I've heard people criticizing this as like, well, this is what Stan did when he was in his career. He just took advantage of everybody around him. And I mean, I don't know. That seems a bit harsh. It's like, oh, it's karma. Now you get what you deserve, fucker. But it's like, I don't know. I got a lot of ideas on this. Like, it is elderly abuse. And to that Bolerjack guy, if he was there for 4 years, he did nothing.
Yeah.
And now he waited. He waited to put this documentary out, and he's trying to grab like $300,000 for it. It seems very kind of creepy. Like it comes off as like, oh, this is beneficial. This is a story that needs to be told about a loved, iconic, pop culture figure. But it's like that dude was also taking advantage of him, and now he's taking advantage of him again. I think it would have been different if he had kind of spoken up about it and earlier when Stan was alive, and and then tried doing this. That would be different to me. I'd be like, well, he did try to fight for Stan at the time, but I mean, this just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't look good in my opinion.
No, and again, there's a line you don't cross. Like, I don't care how much of an ass this guy was and how exploitive he was. Like, these are his final days. Like, everybody deserves some level of dignity on their way out. And you don't do this to I don't care. Like, I've known people who've had like abusive parents and stuff that they've, helped into like assisted living or whatever.
Hey,
and it's like, yeah, that those parents may have been assholes, but it's like, dude, be the bigger person. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't know, man. Seeing what they did to Stan, like this happens all the time. And I'm glad that like this documentary came out, but at the same time, like you said, this vulture sat there for years and recorded this and did nothing, no intervention.
Yeah, and now he's going to cash out or something. It's like, man, I don't know. I will probably watch it if it's ever produced completely or whatever. But I don't know. I'll feel dirty probably watching it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So,
well, part of you wants to know so you could recognize the signs.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, what not to do. Like, if you see any of this, like, you better interact or intervene. Like,
but I mean, look at how popular Stanley was in his prime and the age. And in this video here, you could see that they're interviewing Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefield's no longer a spring chicken.
Nope.
And we were celebrating like Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld in their prime, but once Image got started up and Dark Horse got started up and comics, there was like it seemed like a rat race to the bottom for bigger comics like Marvel and DC. People stopped heralding Liefeld and McFarlane for like the heroes that they were to try to keep the comic industry alive.
Yeah.
And we tried to back out Stan Lee for years.
Yeah.
Rather, and I get it, because every time you saw a Stan Lee cameo in a Marvel film, it was awesome. You're like, oh, I know, you know who that guy is. You know who
Yeah.
that is.
It's like, where's Waldo?
You give the nerd nod. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, but we don't have many other people like who's the Steven Spielberg of this generation. Well, it's still Steven Spielberg. It's somehow Palpatine came back. We don't have. I do kind of agree with people wanting to venerate and celebrate the names behind the products, because I think for a long while these kind of corporate people who are like the Claw from Inspector Gadget, you don't really know who they are. They're manipulating culture in a way that I think evidently we can all see has not been incredibly healthy.
No.
And then when you have people who can I don't like the word sell or the term selling their personality, because I think that really cheapens it. But if they can role model, being a decent human being and good American values while also making a good product, I think that's a really good step in the right direction for us changing culture.
Yeah.
Well, and I see a lot of that just coming out of your channel and what you put out there as a content creator, if you want to call it that.
Influencer.
Yeah, I mean, you are a good presence in the indie, tabletop space. So it's refreshing to see, instead of things like WotC, where it's like they're all subverted and everything now. But you've got your family. You're like a buddy. Like, oh, I could go over and hang out with Patty, and have a beer or whatever. So it's just maybe it's just the new stage of marketing.
Well, that and modern like corporate marketing, the branding people. I've noticed this with the indies. It's here I am, like it or not. Whereas corporate brands are, if you don't like this, you are insert bad word here. Like, what do you mean you don't like dinner parties? What do you mean you don't want rainbow crap in your game? What do you mean you don't want blackwashed European characters? Like, you're an istophobe. Like, they lecture you. They tell you what you should like, and it's not working anymore.
Yeah, but they're right. I am an istophobe. Hey, Jack McCarthy says, I learned who Stan Lee was from the voiceovers on the Super Friends. Yeah, let's not forget how giddy we all were in Mallrats when we saw Stan Lee. That was so cool. We're like, oh, it's Stan Lee. It's the guy from the comics.
Excelsior.
And it's unfortunate for another cash grab by somebody who was there and could have stopped some of the abuse. But I don't know, what can you do? Any last thoughts on that one?
What was it that CNN analyst that nobody likes, or the CNN host, after years of us saying that Biden was being elderly abused, Biden leaves office and he supposedly has a book come out talking about Biden's mental decline in his term of office. Are you guys aware of that?
I think I heard about that, but it's like nobody said anything during the time, did they?
Yeah.
Well,
we did.
Well, right.
They didn't, but we did.
It was obvious. Yeah.
There was a point, I think Chris was saying that, it's like, oh, well, he took advantage of people, so now it's his turn. There are some times where it's like, that's the bed you made. I want to feel bad for you, but some people need to be made an example of. And, unfortunately, I'm not saying that about Stan Lee, because I don't know enough to know. But in Biden's
I heard he took credit for things that he didn't do, and he stole things as blatantly. I don't know. That's all hearsay. That's all career stuff too. In an industry that I was not in or around, and all that other stuff. So I can't say. Like, people, mythology gets changed over time. So I don't know. I can't speak to any of that stuff. Not only that, but it's like, it's true. Like, your reputation that you've built up throughout your life comes at, you collect at the end, right? You reap what you sow, kind of stuff. So I don't know. It's gruesome either way, and unfortunate. So I don't know. Hats off to you, Stan. I hope you're in a better place and not burning in hell. No. So, Anyways, all right. So, and then for our last one, I thought we would talk about Starship Troopers. What have you? Let's see, let me pull this up. What have you guys heard about the Starship Troopers? They're supposed to be doing like a remake or a reboot, right? And instead of Verhoeven's vision of it being like a satire of fascism, space fascism, this one will be more true to the book. So, have you guys read the book?
I have not read the book, but I've because of my conversations with my brother, who's a big fan of the book, I've gleaned a lot. I watched the CG cartoon that was on like the Saturday morning cartoons, and I watched the movie a bunch, and then I got humbled because Dizzy's a beautiful ginger woman. And I was like, oh no, they're gonna make Dizzy a black dude now, aren't they? And then somebody was like, well, he was a dude in the book, and I was just like, yeah, but they're gonna remake the movie based on the movie, not remake the movie based on the book. And then I found out that they said they wanted to be closer to the book, so I said, okay, well, if Dizzy ends up being a guy, then there's not much I can do about it this time.
Yeah. So we got author Alyssa Hazel says, I am 35 minutes into my first viewing of Starship Troopers. I do not like Carmen. Yeah, she's a bit of a bitch. And then here's this one. Pizza rolls made in the microwave and pizza rolls made in the oven. Yeah, because Dizzy is clearly superior personality. You just like, what was that meme? Or when you're young, you thought Carmen was the best, and then when you mature, you realize Dizzy was the best all along, or something like that. Yeah. So let's see. And this guy down here was at Master Elwood. Dizzy is ugly as shit, especially when naked. So nope. I'm going to disagree with that. And then Dina Meyer, the actress,
and there she is right there.
Yeah. So I guess dating is out of the question. Yeah, exactly. Poor Dina. She's so pretty. Let's just say her genes held up. Oh, it looks like we lost Chris.
We lost him in the void.
Yeah. Yeah, he got taken out by space fascists.
Damn it.
So I did read the book, but it was like 20 years ago or something like that. So there's a lot I don't remember, but I do remember that it's much more military than it like in the movie. There's more characters that that have bigger part, and there's like subplots and stuff like that I don't remember in the book at all. In the book it's much more procedural, where he puts on, plus there's like these battle suits, and you go to a planet, you're dropping nukes in holes to kill bugs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that was badass, dude. Like there's this scene where it describes basically being shot out of a spaceship to the surface of a planet to go, nuke some bugs. And I'm like, shit, if they do that, give me some of that on screen. That would be gorgeous. But
that'd be pretty slick. And I think that people are hungry for that now, with how very popular like Space Marine was. 40K is reaching more and more normies.
Right. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Love the book. I hope for them to follow the books more closely. Yeah, I did. Was there a series of them? I only read the one, so
I wouldn't know.
What's the best comic going today? Well, mine is the best comic book going today. So go check me out on Kickstarter. It's like a second chance campaign over there. If you like Final Fantasy and Dragonlance and Castlevania, go over there, check it out. It's basically that. There's a video that will kind of give you a quick rundown, a trailer of the art and the story and all that stuff. It's Immortal Rising 2 Burn Offerings. So
we had to wait for Chris to leave so that way we wouldn't have to compete.
Yeah, secretly I booted him. No, Catherine says space fascism. Oh, yeah.
My desire to know more.
Alyssa is cool. Yeah. I don't know. I see her on Twitter every now and again. So, but apparently she blew up from that. Like one of the Friday Night Tight guys, like retweeted her, and then I don't know, somebody else even bigger retweeted her. So it's pretty cool. Alyssa taught me how to shill. She's amazing. Okay, I'll have to check her out more, I guess. So, What do you think that them doing a closer adaptation of the book? How do you think that'll affect, like, say, tabletop games? You think that we'll see more, or just media in general? You think we'll see more of the Space Marine stuff?
So, I think one of the things that made Verhoeven's version of the story do so well was it was a classic blunder of we're going to satirize these guys so much that people can't help themselves but to hate what they are. And that was a huge topic of discussion. I think it was like this time last year on
Okay.
Twitter.
Yeah.
And so it's funny that, coming up on the anniversary of people saying like Alan Moore, or no, I'm sorry, right? Yeah. Alan Moore wrote Watchmen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So people identifying with Rorschach and people identifying with
Right.
Starship Troopers. That was a huge topic of conversation.
Yeah, the artist who doesn't realize what they're creating. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I am worried that the people who are going to remake the movie are going to take it too seriously, and it's going to actually become a joke rather than what was inadvertently really good propaganda.
Yeah.
So, I think that we might have a way to go yet before people can really stomach what would be considered doing like the hard thing for the right purposes. But I'm glad to be wrong. Like when I think about, I haven't seen the new Nosferatu movie.
No.
But I heard it's visually appealing while being relatively flat everywhere else. Which sucks because I really like the director.
Yeah, Eggers, me too. I really liked The Northman. That was good.
Yeah. Oh, and then Birdman, or what was?
Oh, okay. Oh, he did Birdman. Okay, I
Yeah,
remember
with
that
Michael Keaton. I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure that was him. And I want to say he also did The Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio. I could no.
Okay, I didn't know that one. I didn't know.
No. You know what? I'm way off. I'm sorry.
He did
Those are totally different people. The Revenant
did-
guy did Birdman, and then Eggers did The Vitch, Norseman, and Nosferatu. I was way off. Please disregard.
The Lighthouse movie. I see the
Yeah.
memes everywhere. I haven't seen that one yet either.
Yeah, that's on our list of things to watch. I'm hoping that my wife and I can watch that here soon.
Right?
But
There's a lot of media out there right now. So let's see.
But I think we're in a really weird spot where, I think earlier I was asking who is the Steven Spielberg of our time, and I'm not sure if that's Robert Eggers, because when Robert Eggers comes out with the film, his base really loves the films, but like critics and regular people who don't, who aren't into that type of stuff, they pan him.
Yeah. Who was the Finch? Like he's more of like a niche kind of director. Whereas if you like his style, or even the Snyder, if you like his style, you're probably gonna like his book or his movies.
I fucking love Snyder flicks.
Right, but a lot of people don't, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, some things I don't really care for, like a little too much slow mo. But I really like his movie. I even liked that one with all the chicks, Sucker Punch. I thought that was. I think it's underrated. But all right, couple of adventurers says Feral Historian did a really good video about Star Trek government versus Starship Troopers government, and makes the argument that Starship Troopers government is something we can achieve now. Yeah, I mean, and that was kind of in the book is, like for instance, how to get citizenship is through being in the military, because the world governments blew everything up, and they were like, no, we're not going to trust the politicians anymore. We're going to make sure that the ones who rule over us have actually, had blood in their mouth, and had their own blood in their mouth, instead of just being rich, pampered people. So you have to sacrifice for the state to have the benefits of the state. And so there's quite a bit of political talk in there, which would be really interesting to see them delve into, because I guess that is considered right wing. Although I would say I think that those terms kind of get muddied because of the past, conversations. Like America, I think American right wing is not like, say, pro state, pro big government, fascist kind of state. It's it's much more like homesteading, and it's, don't tread on me. That is more of an American right wing than everybody in jackboots and you have to live like me kind of stuff. So I don't know. I think it could create a lot of really good conversations. So I look forward to that.
Yeah, and hopefully there's a tie-in RPG. I think
Yeah.
people will jump in on that.
What's up, Frederick? Hail chat. Yeah.
As a side note, there was a tie-in RPG that was supposed to come out for Rebel Moon, but I think Netflix axed the company that was making the tie-in RPG for Rebel Moon.
Yeah, well, they axe them. Just kidding.
Right.
A couple of adventurers say military also has to take you of your own volunteer. Yes. Yep. And if I remember right, also, like in the movie, you see people missing limbs and stuff because it's a war culture. And that was one of the things. I think there was like a recruiter who was missing an arm or something like that. And that was to kind of to show the new recruits, like, this is what sacrifice looks like for your state, your country. And that's a good way to chase off the people who aren't really sure. It's like, are you willing to lose a fucking leg? Right there. It's not like, well, we'll give you whatever you want. Just sign on the dotted line, which I've heard a lot of veterans complain about. It's like, I was told I'd get this or that. And then they did the opposite or whatever. So,
yep, it happens. We'd probably make a whole nother conversation out of that. So I'll have to
Is that right?
back on. I'll have to plan to come back on and talk about this. I think the Starship Troopers thing could be a whole episode itself.
Yeah, you're probably right. We're up to about 40 people watching right now. So if you're new here, hit the like, hit the subscribe, the notification bell. I'm trying to do this every Sunday or maybe every other Sunday, something like that, whenever I have time, really. But it will be this time slot. So come back and also go watch the Indie Shop 1, 2, and 3. Those were all good, really good episodes. So all right. I guess that's about it. This week we didn't have a lot of people put in for promotion. So I don't know. There's a lot of fucking drama going on right now in basically every indie space that I can see. And I think a lot of that was like muddied out. So not a lot of people were interested in posting, and the ones who were, we've kind of already promoted before. Not saying that I wouldn't now, but since Patty, since I have you on here, I would much rather talk about your stuff. So let me. Oh, Chris left it in the private chat. He said, "Sorry, my family stopped by unexpected, and I have to go now."
Yeah,
so that's fine.
Miss Chris,
what did you share? Yeah, thanks for coming, Chris. Let me see what you shared. Pull those up, and we can take a look at that.
Hey Wrangler, you got to follow Aaron over on X, and then he does these threads for you to post your stuff.
Let's do that.
See, I got a couple of links in there. I think the first one I sent you was the Fourth Wall Shop. I'm trying my hand at making nerd merch. I had a shirt that I made after the events of last July, and took me a long time to get it onto a t-shirt. But then I made an ad with my wife that we made fun of Lily Phillips. And then the ad for the shirt got like several thousand views. I got to change that on Fourth Wall. I guess I got to make time. But yeah, if you scroll down, you'll see my t-shirts. So the Paladon t-shirt, my wife and I, we made an ad for it that was making fun of Lily Phillips, but it was talking about DMing, like running a Dungeons and Dragons game for 100 players versus 1,000 players. And that thing got like 10,000 views or more. And I think I ended up selling 6 shirts, but I love it. Beautiful. I think it's metal. If you're into old school Dungeons and Dragons, the save versus death is something that might be familiar for you. And then I got this nacho cheese skull. Me and a couple other guys on X were big fans of the Nacho SR, because they have the OSR.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my Nacho SR.
Very nice.
T-shirt
I like your color
there.
choices too.
Yeah, I really like the purple. I think the purple actually looks really good with the yellow.
Okay. Yeah.
And then of course basic black.
Classic black. Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
Mm-mm.
Really
like
that red one is my brother, War God Wargaming. That's the logo I drew for him.
That's badass, dude.
Thanks. Fourth wall seems pretty cool. It was really easy to set up a shop, and I think they were the most agreeable price that I could get. I really like Sticker Mule. If you guys are familiar with Sticker Mule,
yes, I use them.
Yeah, I really like Sticker Mule. They require you to pay to list different things. So if I wanted to get the Paladon, I have the Paladon in black through Sticker Mule through my shop, but I had to buy the t-shirt to get there, and I literally sold just enough t-shirts to be able to afford my own
t-shirt. To break even. Yeah. I use Printify for my t-shirts.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, they were another one I was looking at.
Yeah.
Them and Gelato. The second link I posted is my drive-through RPG store.
Yep. One second, let me pull that up.
And that's got what games that I can list, because drive-through RPG will not publish everything that I make.
Really?
And that's fine.
Why is that?
It's their platform. So right there you have Mutants. Mutants is pay what you want. Mutants is and all of my stuff I make easy to print from home. So if you pick it up from drive-through, you should be able to print it as many times as you want. You got 6 friends, go to your library and print off 6 copies of it and get a stapler, and boom, you're done. Layout Helper was my way of trying to help people who want to get into indie publishing but don't want to use AI art. So I'm going to be making more stock art for people to use.
Whoa.
And then Enduring Light is a modern one-shot using Victor Gorchev's Blacklight supplement for Shadow Dark. So if Victor Gorchev has his Kickstarter that's going on right now, and he's doing really well, and it's going on in tandem with the Shadow Dark Kickstarter. If you can't wait for Blacklight to be done, pick up Enduring Light. There's enough rules in there to get you started with a modern horror themed. If you're into like the SCP Foundation or the X-Files, so on and so forth, you'll really like Enduring Light. You'll love Blacklight. Victor Gorchev is an amazing man to work with. So
yeah.
And then of course,
how come they won't publish everything that you have? Like, what's that about? Or is that something you don't want to talk about?
So this was one of my first books. This is called The Boy from Esteos. Very, very OSR inspired. Of course, it uses Chult and Crimson Dragon Slayer by Venger Satanis.
Okay.
And it's got stuff like, let me see if I can find it.
And in case there's anybody who's watching who's not familiar with drive-through RPG, that's like print on demand RPG stuff, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is the place to go. They kind of have the monopoly. So I've got like scenes where very masculine orc breaks out of a female prison cell.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
it's ma'am.
It's ma'am. And it's not political so much as this is like the South Park equivalent of like role playing. So I mean, if you're a fan of The Stick of Truth or Fractured But Whole, you would love this. This is right up your alley. That's what it is. It's lampoon. It's parody. It's not political. It's parody.
Okay.
And they don't like that stuff.
Bastards. So,
but you can go to GiantSlayerGames.com.
Share that one.
I did not, because I need to make sure that my stuff is in order over there.
Okay.
And I've got some stuff that I'm trying to upload. But the last link that I put in there is the link to my Rumble chat, where I'll be talking to Jack McCarthy about Gobstein. and I think a couple of ventures will be there because he is playing in that game. And I think what he's doing is amazing because it's a great way for him to get a bunch of people together to play a really cool version of Dungeons and Dragons while also raising money for St. Jude's.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
they've
really
they've
cool.
raised almost $2,500.
That's terrific. That's one of the only charities that I even believe is real. You know, that they
Yeah.
don't just steal your fucking money. So and just I mean, and the commercials, man, they'll rinse your heart out. So it's good cause. It's really cool. I mean, kids with cancer, man, that's like the most tragic of all.
So
that's
yeah,
awesome though.
we'll be on there. We'll be on there in about 40 minutes.
Yes. Speaking of which, we should probably find a time to wrap it up. Let's see. Oh, Jack. Yeah, there we go. That's Jack. He's like, "What? You need me on video?" And then currently about 2,800. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Very cool.
Very good.
All right. Well, I guess let's go ahead and wrap it up then, since we lost poor old Chris to family, and we've
Yeah.
already gone over an hour. So,
As a quick shout out to Chris, because I know that he would have loved to, make sure you do his pre-sign up. You can find the details through infinitalchronicles.com. That's infinite tail, like infinity and tail put together. And then follow through his link so you can get signed up for the pre-launch.
Look at you. Nice little promo. Also, if I remember right, he did share his link in the chat earlier. So if you can, just scroll back and click on that. And yeah, go help him out, dude. Oh my gosh. He showed me the preview. I know I said this earlier, but he showed me the preview of his Indiegogo campaign. And I'm like, holy cow. Like he's got like maps and cards and little figures and all kinds of extra merchandise on top of, like 3 or 4 books. So yeah, I'm excited for him. I hope that he hits a home run with this one. So he's put a lot of effort into it. All of his branding is amazing. He's like one of the best in anything, in any of the indie scene that I've seen. So and he's a cool ass dude. So yeah, we're at 50. So guys, hit like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. And I guess let me find it here. I guess until next time, enough talk.
Enough talk.